Story number 1. I was deeply involved in an important project at work. This required that I often stayed late in the evenings. My wife did not like this and was not at all shy about showing her feelings. Her temperament matched her red hair and our Irish roots. She didn't like cooking a delicious meal only to eat it alone. And, truth be told, I was a little mad about it too. Most days of the week, when I finally dragged my exhausted ass home, I was faced with the unappealing prospect of oven-dried leftovers. She was also afraid to stay home alone after dark because of a couple of burglaries in the neighborhood. So I bought her a Glock to keep in her bedside table. She didn't think she had to be alone all the time. She accused me of having some secret mistress and threatened to do the same. I snapped, and the argument got out of hand. I ended up falling asleep on the couch. Because of a project, I needed to get back to the office early the next morning, so I left before she got up. Now that I had cooled down somewhat, I thought I would apologize and explain that the project would be completed sometime next week, and all team members, including me, were promised a nice bonus and extra vacation to compensate us for our efforts. Perhaps we could use this to get away to some hotspot for a while. I tried calling several times throughout the day, but each time the call went straight to voicemail, and she wouldn't return my messages. Each time I didn't get through, I felt my anger grow even more. Wearing the same clothes for the second day in a row didn't improve my mood. My head began to fill with unpleasant thoughts. I was thinking about leaving this bitch and our 7-year marriage. She would never agree to a divorce, and I wasn't too sure about that either. We were both staunch Catholics, and that was a big no-no. Finally, I couldn't take the stress of worrying about the situation at home anymore and went to the boss. Explained that I had a serious personal problem at home that I needed to deal with, and he let me go around 8 o'clock. It was about a half-hour drive home, and when I got there, some unfamiliar car was parked in my spot. I parked on the street and went to the side door to enter the usual way when I happened to peek through a gap between the curtains in the living room. What I saw made my blood pressure instantly skyrocket. Trying to look in through the gap in the drawn curtains made everything a little hazy and fuzzy, but I could definitely make out my wife kneeling and some guy. His back was to me, so I couldn't get a good look at his face, but I could see that my wife had a joyful expression on her face as they held hands tightly together. At least they were fully dressed, he in a black suit that seemed somehow vaguely familiar, and she in her modest Sunday dress. I was furious. My adrenaline was raging, and it felt like my veins might burst at any moment. I decided to scare the hell out of these two before they did anything. So I crept through the side door as quietly as I could. I took off my shoes to reduce the likelihood of the villains hearing my footsteps. Fortunately, my path through the kitchen and up the stairs to the bedroom was out of their sight. I drew my gun. Then I went downstairs to startle the couple. "What's that old poem about, the most elaborate plans?" "Honestly, Your Honor, I really just intended to wave the gun around. I never meant to hurt anyone, it just happened to go off on its own. Twice." "Oops, my bad. I'll have the next 25 years of my life to ponder that little mistake. I think the death of my wife and the priest who listened to her confession pretty much guarantees me a trip to the hot spot. Hot spot, even without the extra time." Story number 2. "I've been sleeping with Mitch Jacobs for the last 6 months, Tracy Aldred blurted out to her husband Josh one night as the two of them watched television in their family room. Joshua Aldred cringed slightly as he heard his wife finally voice her infidelity. "I know." The next sound Joshua heard was the sound of his wife spitting out the red wine she had just drunk. It left a nasty mark on both the cream-colored couch and her white blouse. Wait, what? You know?" "How could you possibly know?" she whispered, her face taking on a crimson hue almost as dark as the growing stain on the couch. "Is that the most important thing you have to worry about right now?" Joshua asked calmly. Her face remained flushed as several questions raced through her clouded brain. "Well, I just thought we were being very careful so that you would never find out or get hurt because I love you, you know," Tracy said hastily. Joshua fixed his gaze on the foolish woman who was not long to be his wife. She wilted under that stern gaze. "How many people have you told, Tracy?" he asked quietly. She hesitated for a few seconds. He could almost literally see the proverbial wheels turning in her head. Just the one. I was saying, Lucy Hanson, she's my best friend. And she has the biggest mouth in town, Joshua interrupted. You, of all people, should know better than anyone not to say Lucy's mouth. Ah! Tracy screamed in frustration. So if you thought she wouldn't blab around town, why did you tell me your secret now? Because the guilt was killing me. I thought if I told you and we worked it out, I could keep the affair going until it went away. And then we could... This time the woman was interrupted by the sound of her husband's insane laughter. Really? You expected me to somehow let you continue sleeping with another man until the affair runs its course, he replied, his voice trailing off into a falsetto as he quoted her earlier statement. A smile contorted his handsome face as he laughed heartily. Tracy looked at him as if she was seeing him for the first time. We've been married for 12 years, together for 15. In all our conversations over the years, have I ever let you know that I would like to share you with another man? Well, no, but you almost always gave in to me when we argued, and I know you love me enough to give me that, she said with more hope in her voice than was in her subconscious. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha! That's rich, woman. You're equating an argument about whether to get a second dog with whether I'm going to let you continue to have fun with another man. Obviously, you've mistaken me for some random cuckold, Joshua said. But it doesn't have to affect our marriage, she said. It hasn't affected it yet. That's what it seems like to you, and you obviously haven't been paying much attention because you've been so busy with your lover. Have you noticed that I haven't touched you in the last month, since I found out about you and Mitch? But the fact that the affair has been going on for 6 months now explains your detachment for 5 months before that. Even the kids saw that. We were wondering if you were in a relationship with someone else or not. Do the kids know? No. 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 Oh, God, she lamented. I told them as soon as I found out for sure last month. They promised not to say anything until you and I talked about it first, so if you don't talk to them in the next few minutes... Anger flashed across Tracy's face, but uncharacteristically she held her tongue. Mitch Jacobs, huh? I gotta tell you, my feelings are hurt. I would have hoped that if you betrayed me, it would have been with a handsome guy, not some dork with a daddy with a big wallet. What were you thinking? Joshua commented. This doesn't have to be the end for us, Joshua, Tracy said. It doesn't really mean anything. I know it sounds corny, but it was just a little extra, a little fun. I'm not having fun, Tracy. I've had the paperwork ready since I found out. You'll get it at work tomorrow. Oh, by the way, your parents know about your cheating, too. They're waiting for you.